All right, the coronavirus has fundamentally changed so many aspects of life, most of them not for the good, but there is a silver lining. And I've been talking about this for the last probably almost year and a half. I saw this immediately because parents were exposed, not to the virus, but to what their kids were actually being taught in the schools. And they were looking at all this stuff. Public schools have become these woke factories teaching every liberal's wish list of critical race theory, LGBTQ ideologies, and just teaching them to become liberal activists. Well, something's happened in the last 25 years. There are now many alternative educational choices for children outside the traditional public schools, and it's been growing rapidly. Internet, computer access, online learning has created so many different options. Now, I was surprised by this. The AP had a story today entitled "Sparked by Pandemic Fallout, Homeschooling Surges Across the U.S." Now, citing U.S. Census Bureau numbers, they say the surge has been confirmed. I'm quoting from the AP story. The surge has been confirmed by the U.S. Census Bureau, which reported in March that the rate of households homeschooling their children rose to 11% by September 2020, more than doubling from the 5.4% just 6 months earlier. But there's more good news. The biggest increase is in black households. They saw the largest jump. Their homeschooling rate rose from 3.3% in the spring of 2020 to 16.1% in the fall. Now, one of the organizations that is helping this happen happens to be someone I've known for many years, one of my early political supporters back in my home state of Louisiana, Joyce Burges. She's the co-founder and program director of the National Black Home Educators. Joyce, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Joyce, you have to
Good
be.
things you do.
You've got to be encouraged by this after years of laboring on this, that now you're seeing this explosive growth in homeschooling, especially in black homes.
I am very excited about this. It just gives parents an opportunity to own their children's education and to reclaim their children's education again. Parents want stability, and I'm very excited to see that parents are choosing to be on the front lines and the first influencers of their children's education.
So, Joyce, what are some of the things you're hearing as parents contact you as motivation for entering into this world of homeschooling?
Well, one of the first things that we're hearing, it's been homeschooling where Black families are concerned has been on an uptick for years and years. But with the pandemic, it's really exploded. And some of the things I'm hearing is parents want stability. Parents want to make sure that their children are, learning about the things that they value. They want to make sure that their children are getting a wholesome education so that the whole child can develop. I'm seeing a lot of parents tell me that they just can't navigate the virtual setting that they found themselves in. And then, of course, they are being exposed to some things that parents, just an elementary child, parents are just not going to put up with that. And so it's just been kind of shocking to see, how parents are, just wanting to get involved. One of the things that I heard a mom say just this very day is they noticed that their schools were not teaching African-American history the way they wanted their children to learn African-American history. So parents have been inspired to seek out African-American resources and just to seek out the Black experience as it relates to curriculum. So parents are getting involved to make sure that their children know what the truth is and that their children understand who their heroes are so that they can be inspired once again.
Right. And there's so many key places where we've seen African Americans play key roles in American history. Godly men and women who have contributed greatly to this experiment that we're we're in. And that's not what is normally covered in our public schools. It's not that faith element that shows those that contributed so greatly to this country. You know, one of the things I saw in the AP story that I thought was, I knew is to be the case, but I thought very enlightening and helpful is many parents are saying, you know, I didn't think I could do this, but now that as you said, they were in the virtual setting and that didn't really work. And so they tried this and they realized, hey, I can do this. It's not that difficult.
Absolutely. You know, we've homeschooled for 30-something years, all 5 of our children, and parents are saying, you know what, I'm qualified, I can do this. You know, more than anything, parents are forgetting about whatever kind of inadequacies that they feel educationally or academically, and they're seeing the need for their children to learn what is good and what is wholesome, and they're just forgetting about all their inadequacies, and they're saying, you know what, children come first, and I want to make sure that my children get the best educational experience possible. And I'm a first influencer because parents are the only ones with a vested interest in their children's education.
Yes.
Children thrive in a homeschooling environment. They thrive because it's personalized, it's customized, and it's not a one size fits all. It's not a package deal. Like, you know, for years and years, Black parents have been lied to about that. And so Black families are saying, you know what? I can do this. I'm going to do this. I want to be involved. I want to know what my children are learning, and whatever it takes, I'm going to be a part of it. So that's what we're seeing today, and we're very excited about that.
Well, as you should be. As I said, you've labored in this vineyard for a long time, and now we're seeing a lot come forth, a lot of the fruit. One of the reoccurring messages that I've seen that parents have shared in some of these stories is that in schools, children, you know, have to follow these set patterns. It stifles them, but they also face the bullying, the belittling. And when they come home, they're free to be themselves and they begin to prosper. And so many parents have said, you know, I have a new child. He's acting completely different now that he's at home in a different environment. You've been hearing the same thing?
Yeah, parents are getting to know their children and yeah, absolutely. Parents are getting to know their children, and their children are getting to know their parents, which is the beauty of homeschooling, is to have that relationship. You know, one of the things I said in raising my children was I wanted to create the adults through my children. I wanted to create the adults that I wanted to spend time with. So yes, I'm hearing that, you know, children, you know, that potentially could have had suicidal rates, you know, with the bullying going on and, you know, with them just not learning who they are, their personal talents, their creativeness. And children are beginning to see those things as they're homeschooling. Homeschooling is a lifeline for parents.
Yes.
And parents are coming on board and they're here to stay. You know, they're here to stay.
Well, I want to commend you, Joyce, for staying with this and so excited about the growth that we're seeing here. How can people find out more if they want to consider this? How can they join up with you and be a part of the Black Homeschool Education Network?
Thank you so much. Parents can contact the National Black Home Educators by emailing us at contact@nbhe.net, or they can visit our website where there are supplemental lessons out there. There are resources out there about the Black experience. You know, one of the things I want to get across is there's an excellence in the Black experience. And that's what parents who are choosing to homeschool their children, that's what they're bringing out. So our email address is, again, contact@nbhe.net. Our website address is www.nbhe.net. They can get in touch with us directly there. People are waiting, even as I'm talking to you, they're waiting by the phones, just waiting for parents to come up. We want to be a lifeline, and we're here to help. We're here to serve families.
And all of this comes with the foundation of biblical truth.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're honored to say that because Black families have always had a great love for God. I learned that from my grandmother. And, you know, we're just bringing those biblical truths, those biblical principles back in. You know, George Washington Carver, we all know how talented he was. And he owes everything that he was about, everything that he created, all of his contributions was because of God. He
Yes.
called his little workshop God's little workshop. And so there are more and more African American heroes that honored God. We wouldn't be where we are today if it had not been for God.
Yes.
So Black families cherish that. They honor that culture. It's very important to us, and we are putting that into the next generation as we train our children.
Well, Joyce, we're going to encourage folks to check out that website and contact you, and I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Tony.
Absolutely. Joyce Burges.